You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Happening now at 10 o'clock, covering the entire DMV. A man set himself on fire. We're live outside of the Israeli embassy in the district. What we know about those shocking circumstances.
We're hoping for the best, but we're prepared for the worst as well.
Sons speak out after their parents vanished. What police in the Caribbean say they discovered on their boat, as the investigation for a couple with Northern Virginia ties remains ongoing. And paying up, where drivers could face steeper fines for speeding in Maryland. How much more it could cost you.
And while Monday may be mild, Wednesday will be warm. Just how warm? Stick around for my forecast. I've got that 7-day right around the corner.
We will take the warm-up on the way, Scott. Good evening. Thank you for joining us for DC News Now at 10 o'clock. I'm Ben Dennis. This Sunday night. Developing right now, a man remains in critical condition after DC police say that he set himself on fire this afternoon outside of the Israeli embassy. Our Dave Laval joins us live from the scene. Dave, plenty to cover. The investigation still relatively early. What are we seeing at this hour?
Good evening to you, Ben. We can tell you right now, security here has definitely increased as we see more DC and Secret Service police on scene. And in a very important new detail that we've got tonight, the Air Force confirmed to the Washington Post and Reuters the man who set himself on fire is an active duty airman. Burn marks remain outside the embassy from where the unidentified man set himself on fire around 1 o'clock this afternoon. DC Fire and Rescue took him to the hospital where at the last report had him in critical condition. The Post also says the man posted a video in which he talks about his service and shouted, quote, "Free Palestine." The Israeli embassy released a statement that said none of its staff was injured. Also, the explosive ordnance disposal unit from DC Police responded here earlier in the day to reports of a suspicious car. Fortunately, the unit found nothing suspicious in it. We are live at the Israeli embassy. Dave Laval, DC News Now.
All right, thanks to Dave. Meantime, some breaking news happening right now. DC police are investigating a shooting in Northwest. Officials say it happened in this alley right here near Morton Street around 8:15. Police do have a lookout for the suspect. They described him as a man wearing a camouflage sweatshirt and dark clothing. People say he was last seen in that alley running towards Lamont Street. An investigation is still ongoing. Staying in the district, police also say a teenager suffered serious injuries after being shot at the Anacostia Metro Station overnight. Police responded around 11:20 after reports of a shooting on a train. The teen taken to a hospital. Police believe there's no ongoing threat to the public. In Maryland, Montgomery County fires say that 4 people are hurt after a 3-car crash this morning. Authorities say it happened around 6:30 at New Hampshire Avenue and Lockwood Drive in White Oak. 2 of the 4 victims with serious injuries, the 2 others not as seriously hurt. Stay with us, that story's developing. And tonight, fire officials and community members celebrated the life of volunteer firefighter Trevor Brown in Northern Virginia. Brown died on the scene of a house explosion in Sterling back on the 17th. Explosion also injured 10 more firefighters and 2 other people. And it's been exactly 1 week since an American couple with Northern Virginia ties vanished in the Caribbean. Authorities there believe that 3 escaped prisoners who have been recaptured killed that pair. It's a difficult time, no doubt, for the family. And they tell us they last heard from their parents last Sunday, the same day they disappeared. Now there's a lot of waiting and worrying, trying to find out what happened. Our Dave Laval spoke with those sons earlier today.
This is definitely hard for both of us.
Nick Burrow and his brother Brian Hendry are in the Caribbean looking for what happened to their parents. Ralph Hendry and Kathy Brandel vanished February 18th after they were last seen where their boat was docked in St. George's Bay, Grenada.
Having a very hard time. This is definitely not looking like good news. We're hoping for the best, but we're prepared for the worst as well.
Authorities recovered the couple's catamaran, the Simplicity, last week in St. Vincent, with no one on board it. The couple was in the Caribbean for winter as they sailed on the boat. The brothers shared with us what authorities told them.
There was blood found on the boat. There were clear signs of a struggle, and their possessions were strewn all over the boat as well, so it was clearly ransacked.
Investigators there believe 3 prisoners boarded the boat in St. George shortly after they escaped police custody and likely killed the couple. There's been no sign of their bodies.
Love my father dearly, and I cared and loved for Kathy very much.
They were just some of the most beautiful people you would have ever met. And to have them have something tragic happen to them in their place of safety and in their home is beyond my comprehension.
The couple, married for 27 years, called Simplicity their home for the last 12 years after they packed up and left Falls Church.
They loved life very, very much. I'd like to reiterate. They loved everybody around them, and they loved their family very much.
Ralph and Kathy were beautiful people. And I'd like to say they are beautiful people because I still don't want to believe that they are gone from us.
Dave Laval, DC News Now.
And the brothers told us that they intend to stay in Grenada until they know exactly what happened to their parents. A fund, meantime, has been set up to help those families. Time now is 10:05. We are inching closer to when that warm-up is headed into our region. I'm excited there, Scott.
Yeah, hour by hour, right? Ben is chopping at the bit here. As far as our satellite is concerned, we do have clouds over Pennsylvania and moving across western Maryland and parts of the viewing area this evening. Now, granted, we don't have much in the way of moisture associated with it in regards to rain or snow, but there could be a couple little spot showers, especially snow showers in the higher elevations of western Maryland. Now, tomorrow when you wake up, we shouldn't be seeing anything but feeling anything except a chilly morning here. Variably cloudy skies. Temperatures will be in the 30s, 10 degrees warmer than they were this morning in most areas, and winds will be fairly calm out there. And during the course of the afternoon, you may want to do a walk in the park here. Maybe not so much early because it'll still be in the 40s. So that might, and feeling like lower 40s here. But once we hit the noon hour and certainly mid-afternoon, it'll feel pretty nice outside with temperatures climbing up to around 62, 63 degrees. Overall, really not a bad start to the week. But we do have rain chances returning here. So headlines and what to expect are showing. Those rain chances return on Tuesday. Stick around on Wednesday, and we could even hear some rumbles of thunder with temperatures getting up to possibly 70 degrees. Yeah, some forecast models are talking about that and showing that graphically. So we're sticking with 70 since we had it on the map yesterday. We'll talk about the rest of the week after Wednesday coming up.
All right, Scott, looking forward to that. Meantime, Fairfax Connector bus service is remaining suspended. It's the 4th day in a row as the union workers' strike continues. Hundreds of Fairfax Connector employees are on strike against contractor Transdev over what they call unfair labor practices. Transit Union ATU Local 689 says it's been negotiating with Transdev since last year. No word yet when talks will conclude and connector service will kick back in.
I feel it should take how longer it takes till Transdev learns what we're worth and what needs to be done.
And workers have been on the job under expired contracts since December. Some pending changes could impact roads in Maryland and in the district. Traffic anchor Shanika Grimshaw has the details in a commuter alert.
In Maryland, there's a bill making its way through the state's General Assembly. The Road Worker Protection Act would increase speed camera fines in work zones from $40 to $290. That would match the fine an officer would give an in-person ticket. Right now, Maryland has one of the lowest fees for speed camera tickets, and drivers with 3 or more violations would also face fines of up to $1,000. Maryland's Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller believes this will greatly reduce reckless driving. And on Thursday, she testified in front of a Senate committee considering the bill. She said, quote, "This legislation protects the men and women who place themselves in harm's way on the front line of service and utilizes technologies that weren't available 15 years ago." In the district, their Department of Transportation will close lanes on Oregon Avenue in Northwest for about 6 weeks. It starts on Tuesday, February 27th to April 12th. Those lane closures will be in effect between 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. near Military Road. In the studio, Shanika Grimshaw, DC News Now.
Thanks to Shanika. Some Virginia labor unions are sounding off against Monumental Sports' proposed move to Alexandria. Union members say the move would create more low-paying jobs for workers in the construction and hospitality sector, arguing it would lead to wage theft and worker exploitation. They also claim developers haven't addressed steps to prevent those issues. Comes as Monumental Sports hopes to bring the Wizards and Caps to Potomac Yard. A state Senate vote killed a bill that would fund the project. Another one is still alive in the House, but faces a tough road ahead. Union members say it's a bad deal and they want to secure good-paying jobs to be able to live in Alexandria.
We're looking for opportunities for members of our community in Alexandria, especially people from disadvantaged communities, minority contractors, small companies, to be able to benefit from this project and not have it just be something that benefits the rich.
Right now, there is no agreement with any labor unions for the project. Monumental Sports says those jobs based in D.C. would transfer to Virginia. In the district, 2 former D.C. Walgreens managers, along with 2 other people, have been charged with a series of inside job robberies in Chinatown. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, Michael Robinson and London Teeter worked as managers at the Walgreens on 7th Street in Northwest. Starting last July, they say when Robinson or Teeter were working, one of their accomplices would go into the store with a gun, demand money that only a manager could access. Charging documents state that only Robinson and Teeter had the code to gain access to that cash. One time, according to the feds, Robinson even asked the robber to hit him with their gun to make it more believable. Case is now being investigated by the FBI's Violent Crimes Task Force. And SNAP recipients in the district will see extra benefits loaded onto their cards this weekend. It's all part of the temporary SNAP benefit increase. DC News Now's Tosif Akile shares more details in the studio about how much extra recipients will receive and how long they may be getting them.
This weekend, D.C.'s Department of Human Services started loading the increased SNAP benefits for January and February on the cards of SNAP recipients. This increase is that local temporary benefit that's sometimes referred to as Give SNAP a raise. The temporary benefit gives everyone who gets SNAP in D.C. a temporary increase of up to 10% of their household's federal maximum, and that's on top of what they already receive. That is according to D.C.'s DHS. So here's a breakdown from the Department of Human Services of how much temporary SNAP benefit you'll receive based on household number. And it goes from an extra $29 for a household of 1 to $175 extra for an 8-person household. From March through September, SNAP recipients can expect the temporary benefit to be combined with the regular SNAP benefit and loaded on EBT cards between the 1st and 10th of the month. Now, this temporary benefit will be available until September 30th. In October, all households go back to their normal SNAP allotment. D.C.'s Department of Human Services says it'll send out notices in August to remind recipients about this. In the studio, I'm Tosif Akile. Back to you.